What is up, nerds? Welcome back to episode 11 of the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Justin. I'm Lewis, your host. Justin, what's going on, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. I'm actually playing a lot. I know that's your next question. You've been playing any this week? I've been playing every day. So which is unusual for me. And
living that retirement dream.
I know, it's crazy. And I've been expecting, since I play every day, to get in a groove, start getting a little bit more consistent. Nope, still suck. Anyway, what about you? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I've been playing. I've been hitting my new Titan Ace ball machine. Still suck. Been drilling, been testing and reviewing and making reviews. But yeah, you guys may notice I look a little different today. I kind of look like an idiot, if I'm being honest. But you
look like you're about to go straight to the Swiss Alps to go skiing or something.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Or about to go play in a weekend-long baseball tournament.
Yes, true.
But yeah, these are the Pickleball Apes glasses. They're actually, all jokes aside, they're really not my cup of tea in terms of style. I know a lot of people really love this style. And these glasses are actually super solid. So if you're looking for a relatively inexpensive, I think they're $90, pair of pickleball glasses from Pickleball Apes, who is a great company, makes great paddles and great products. Check these out. You can use discount code PURSUIT10, and I'll bring them down to like $81 if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, they come with 3 different lenses. They have a clear.
Oh, that's good.
And they also have this. Oh, actually, they come with 4. This is just like regular sunglasses. And then, maybe it is 3. Yeah,
that's still cool, though. That's good because, then you get kind of multi-use out of it for people who maybe play indoor and outdoor.
And you get your, prescription glasses in there.
So you can look like me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I look sick.
So, hey, speaking of Pickleball Apes, have you gotten their new paddles?
No, I hit them up and they said it's gonna be months before they do release them. I might not have been able to say that, but I'm sure it's fine. But no, they did not even offer to send me them. I'm just a scrub. So
well, I love purple, so I'm excited.
I haven't even seen them.
Wow.
Actually, I probably have seen them once, but
bro.
They've gone out of my memory. You know how I am about Discord, bro. You know.
It's not all only Discord.
I don't like to dwell there.
Oh.
Well,
let's not get started on
anyway. Yeah, let's do we're recording this. What is today? Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday morning, and there was just like a debacle on
I said, let's not get into
Discord.
it. Let's not get into it.
Yeah. We're not going to get into it. We're just letting you guys know why we're
normal stuff.
Weirdos. Yeah.
So you said,
but anyway.
You mentioned earlier, you've been hitting this week with your ball machine. I see that you've been busy, obviously. Releasing 2 reviews in a week is like cranking them out. Has the ball machine helped your process? Has it helped you personally? What are your thoughts and feelings on your new, what is it?
So I will definitely
Ace?
make a full... Yeah, I'll definitely make a full-length review of this machine because once I get it like dialed in, it's going to be the shit.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where you really just need to go to the court with it for like 2 hours with preset drills that you have found. The ones that come in stock are not that great. I would advise anyone who's going to purchase or use a Titan Ace or Titan, I can't remember what the higher, more expensive version is, but they're the same machine. They just, one has a closable ball hopper and one has a removable ball hopper. But I would highly suggest finding some drills online and then going to the court and dial those in because they're not going to be perfect every single time. And the ones that come stock are just meh. They're fine, but you can do a lot of really interesting things with the machine itself where you don't even need to put it at the end of the baseline like it tells you with every drill that's preset in there. You know, you can put some you can do some dinking drills where it's
Right.
on cross court, kitchen corner, and do some stuff with that. So I need to spend a little bit more time dialing in all of my preset drills that I've uploaded into that Titan Titan Ball Machine app, and once that gets set, it's gonna be pretty tight. It's not gonna be, obviously, nothing is ever gonna be as good as having a drill partner, but there are pluses to having a ball machine. The ball machine, once you get it dialed in, never misses.
Yeah.
So
I see you working on your backhand flick.
I miss a lot. Yeah, I've been working on my backhand flick big time. I'm not gonna lie, dude. When we were in Houston and you were just smacking some backhand flicks, I was like, that's low key kind of tight. I need to get better at that shot, because that is something I don't really have. I have like a little like brush across one where I just like start here and kind of go across. I don't have a flick. Yeah. And although I didn't have a flick, that shot was pretty powerful, but it was only useful on like really high, shots that people popped up. So a flick you can, utilize on decent drops where they haven't had enough time to get up to the kitchen line. So I've been working a lot on that, man.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as like a roll, right? You just get it softer and exaggerate the topspin more, like you're talking about. Someone like a low drop,
right?
It becomes a roll. On a high ball, it becomes like a hard flick. Fun shot.
Exactly, yeah.
Whenever you're not just blasting them into the net
shot.
tape.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's amazing when you hit a really good roll or a really good flick, but it sucks when you hit it in the net.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling.
Definitely a shot that you need to put a ton of time into drilling to make sure that you have it down. So, yeah, Titan Ace Ball Machine, first impressions, pretty tight.
They're going to buy me one or what?
Well worth the money.
Nice.
Say that
Thank
again?
you. I appreciate it. You have my address.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Done. Easy. Light work. So speaking of like expensive things that we're buying, these episodes may look a little different.
Oh, okay. We'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait.
We'll see you next week.
So just,
hopefully.
Just be prepared. We need to get to some business here. We need to select our giveaway winner.
Okay.
So last week for our 10th episode, jumping right into it, man. We said, give us your best comments or roasts of me, and then Justin was like, just give me your best opinions or creative thoughts on paddles, and we'll pick one winner, and we'll go from there. So Justin, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
Man.
So I ended up just liking the funny ones after all. So I pretended to be like thoughtful and smart, but come on, we all like the funny ones. By the way, the giveaway is for some Pickleball Effect tungsten tape. Product placement.
Bam.
So
show it.
Anyway, all right. So here, I got a couple honorable mentions. Okay, and then I'm gonna tell you my winner because I have a hard time deciding between these. Okay, first off, Big Chaval said this is the podcast you get when you order Pickleball Studio on Wish. That one had me dying, dude. Oh, that's good. That one's really good.
There were some really good comments.
Yeah. Now I'm even reading these. I'm like, I don't even know which of these to choose for the winner. That one's so good. 65 at Best PB. You commented a lot of stuff, but the funniest thing to me was when you said, what is the podcast lighting theme? Seems like maybe Vampire Den adjacent. And then I couldn't unsee it every time. I'm just like, shit, Lewis does look like a vampire. So that one had me dying too.
Yeah. Bro, when I used to teach, like my teeth are crooked. Wow. Let's just get this straight. Okay, guys? This is the Crooked Teeth podcast.
Yeah, true. Actually, let's rename it.
Yeah. But like, these pointed teeth, I swear to God, dude, whenever I used to teach PE to elementary kids, all of the kindergartners, at the very least, like the first week of school, 5 or 10 kids would be like, Mr. Colbass, are you a vampire? And I would just be like, damn, these kids are brutal. So they would always make fun of me for not knowingly make fun of me, but they're like, are you a vampire? I was like, yeah, bro. So that was like
it's a callback.
A callback to past trauma.
So look, from here's my
beat up by kindergartners.
Here's my ultimate winner. You ready? And it's from a loyal listener and commenter. Old Matty Rut. Matty Rut
Oh
2922.
man, he's gonna be so
Yours is
excited.
the one that I thought was funny, but also thoughtful in your joke. Here's what it says. Pickleball Pursuit Lewis. You should spin around slowly in your chair so you can complete that gyro meat cooking in a vertical grill look you have going on. It might help darken those white thighs. And that just made me die because obviously, look, hey, our lighting's different, so maybe it got to us. You know, maybe everybody roasting us about the lighting got to us. But last week, if you go back to the pod, Lewis had these two red bars, you know, like right behind him. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he said that, the mental image was perfect of like those street cooker things where they have the meat on the spit and it's just spinning between like the radiators. And you look at you right now doing this. It was perfect. Yeah. So that's my winner. That's who I'll be sending the tungsten tape to. Old Matty Rut.
Matty Rut. That dude has entered, I kid you not, of every review I've ever made with a giveaway, I bet you he's entered all but maybe like one or two, like the first ones on my channel. I could be wrong. He probably could be in every single one.
He has good comments too. Like the comments are not just like, hey, I want to win, you know?
Yeah, not just like entered giveaway, you know, which is nice. So he always cracks us up with a lot of his comments and whatnot. So Matty, man, congrats, dude. You deserve it. You've been around for a long time. You're a long time viewer and listener. So we appreciate you, bro.
Okay, what did you pick?
Congrats. So it was like neck and neck. So I'm gonna go with my runner-up first. This is Julia Oline 9778. I'm definitely mispronouncing your last name. So sorry, Julia. But she said, there once was a player named Lou whose shorts were incredibly few. On the court, he'd delight in his shorts oh so tight, winning games with a style that was new. That one had me cracking up, but
a lot of effort.
Yeah, trust me. I am certain that you put tons of time into that. Yeah. But this one made me laugh like out loud when I was reading it. And it's from Common Halim, and he or she said, one idea for a brand sponsorship for Lewis, Victoria's Secret. And I thought that was hilarious because obviously I wear short shorts, so, you know, just let it ride up a little more and, you know, do some Victoria's Secret underwear.
Yeah, boy shorts, right?
So, yeah, exactly. So, hilarious comments. Got a lot of really good ones. If you did not get picked, that doesn't mean that your comment was not funny or enjoyed. We appreciate all of them, and
definitely.
Honestly, I was laughing at quite a few.
Yeah, it was really fun actually. I want to do more comment giveaways because I had a blast like checking the comments and.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
So,
good stuff.
What's the protocol, Mr. Giveaway Man?
All right, so what we're gonna do, if you won the giveaway, all we're gonna do is we just have you email us at pickleballpursuit@gmail.com. And then all we're going to do is just have you show that you are the actual owner of the YouTube handle that you own. So it's super simple. We'll just ask you to edit your original comment with an added word that is only unique to the person who actually would own both that YouTube YouTube handle and email that you have emailed us with. So if you are Matty Rut, and come on, please go ahead and email us. We will get you to verify your identity and then get those sent over to you
Product
ASAP.
Boom.
Product placement.
It's on its way to you.
Oh my God. Oh. That was so bad. Wow.
I almost knocked my camera over. Okay.
I gotta get it together. Holy crap.
Okay, what's the next topic? I don't have a list today, so
Jesus Christ.
Lead us, Captain, my captain.
All right. So we are going to talk about a new player in the quiet paddle space.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a paddle we both were sent. And this is the first time, guys. Listen. Lewis and Justin are co-reviewing this right now, which is a first on the Pickleball Pursuit podcast.
Yeah.
This is the new unreleased Diadem Hush. And this paddle is a quiet category paddle. It utilizes some very intriguing materials and setup to the core that makes it super quiet. So Justin, I'm gonna let you kind of get into a little bit more of that, and then we'll kind of talk about our thoughts, feelings, emotions about this paddle. Before we get too far, it will not be released until August 14th. When it is released, you can utilize code PURSUIT, which will save you some cash at checkout. So if you're somebody who plays in a quiet pickleball area, this might be a great option for you other than the owl. So go ahead, man.
Look, guys, I'm official. Check it out. Got paddles.
We made it. We made it.
So, in a word, this thing is crazy. It is... We'll just lead with this. And I don't know if this is true for you, but this is the most spinny paddle I've ever played with, ever. And I played with a lot of paddles, legal insane. And not legal. So it might be on par with some of the illegal EVAs as far as spin, but probably more. It's the things you could do are just crazy. So there's that. Yeah. And then the power is also incredibly high. So I haven't played with the gearbox extensively and never broken in one, so I can't say if it's higher than the gearbox PPE. And same goes, I've never played with like a Core Crush Gen 3, but this is, as far as like regular paddles or Gen 2, far more powerful. So kind of scary. So it's kind of funny that like this is the one that was going to go in like the quiet category, where you think it'd be more low key people. But if someone wants to rip with this, it could be dangerous. So there's that. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
I will say I agree with you on all accounts, and I want to reinforce this. My friend and I were drilling, and I was like, hey dude, let's hit this a couple times. I hit a few drives. Crazy how powerful this is, and crazy how much spin it has. And then I gave it to him, and we were just dinking around, and right before I hit a pop-up, and I was like, whoa. I stopped him right there. I was like, no speed ups. No speed ups with this paddle. Because that is how powerful this paddle is. I was like, do not speed the ball up on me.
You are a nicer guy than me.
I don't think I can.
I bodied my friend twice in a row with it. Easily. And I'm not God. You guys
You're
have seen my videos. I'm not like a power player. I just told him specifically, I was like, don't pop it up, because it's coming back fast.
It's coming at you.
And he popped it up, and I hit him directly and right in the belly button. And then we were laughing. He was like, oh, that actually stung. And then immediately after that, he popped it up. I hit him right in the chest. And I was like, I told you, dude. It's crazy. So that's kind of play characteristics that stand out. The spin is insane. The power is insane. Now let's talk about the construction. Or, I didn't tear it apart. I haven't cut it open. Don't know that I'm going to do that. Don't know that I'm going to get that deep. We'll wait for Diadem to release and, kind of release what specs they want, how they want, right? I don't want to, tread on any toes there. But I'll tell you my impressions just as a person, as someone who hasn't taken this apart. First off, it's an elongated shape. However, it's not as wide as a normal elongated shape. So I was worried at first, by the low twist weight. And I was like, man, it's going to have a tiny sweet spot. However, this stuff on the face is it's gritty, rough. You can hear it, but it's foam. So the best way I can describe it, and I've felt this exact stuff before, and you may have. If you've ever been on a jet ski or any other kind of water sport like a boat where there is a step where you need to climb out of the water into the vehicle, a lot of times on those steps they have this foam grippy stuff, which is soft on your bare feet, of course, but also very grippy. This is exactly what that feels like. So imagine a 2 millimeter thick piece of coarse foam that is, very grippy, but it's also very springy. So that's super cool. And other than that, the rest of this is one entire molded piece. I took the grip off. So the handle all the way up to here, and around the edge guard is all one molded piece. And it looks like plastic, but it's actually carbon fiber. You can see when you take the handle off because it's just a coated carbon fiber in this kind of matte gray, which is super cool. So I don't know the core. I wouldn't be surprised if it was still just a honeycomb. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's something totally different. If it was, formed with carbon fiber, we'll know eventually. However, I say
I was sent
go ahead.
I was sent the like paddle info sheet, and I remember there being a graphic detailing the core, but I'm not going to say anything just in case. We're not allowed to talk about it yet. But I've seen the core. Once I get the okay and like the confirmation that we can talk about it, we'll explain what it is, if anything different. I just don't want to spill too much in case we're not allowed to talk about stuff. So they said we can talk about the paddle. I don't know if we can talk about the construction. So
here's my thought, just as me being me. Good job, Diadem, on some innovation and creating a paddle that feels very solid and is different, right? So any innovation, whether legal or not, is generally useful because you can kind of change it and use it how you need to. All that said, this is quiet legal. You can probably see that. This is the USAP quiet. So if we were playing in a quiet league tomorrow, Lewis, and it was like, okay, we got to play a quiet approved paddle, 1,000% I'm taking this over the owl paddle. It's not even close. So that's my thought. Paddle's crazy. It's really fun to play with. It feels a little dangerous. And good on Diadem. It looks great. Insane. I think it's cool that the faces are different, but they're both pretty subtle. And it's got a good feel. And it's surprisingly forgiving for even how thin it is because of how much energy this foam returns. Even if you hit over here, the ball's still bouncing off. So the ball is like never dying off this thing unless you hit the absolute hard edge. Anyway, okay. All right, I rambled for a while. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with you on a lot of pretty much all that. I'll just add to my couple concerns. Obviously, will be, does this degrade?
Yeah.
Does this foam degrade as you use it? Because you're hitting a plastic ball that has holes in it that may cut down on this foamy.
I could see it eventually grabbing material and like ripping out a chunk, but I'm not certain. I've only played about 3 hours with it.
But so how's your face look? I do have like one little tiny nick, but I don't know if that's just like the normal texture.
No,
that's
mine looks
slightly deeper.
Honestly, nearly perfect. There, you could tell it's maybe some indentations around the sweet spot. Yeah, there's a little just the tiniest little tear. But other than that, the graphics are stayed on really well. And it looks good. But like I said, I only have about 3 hours on it. And to be honest, probably 2 of those 3 hours I was chilling because I didn't want to hurt people. So I was like not hitting hard with it. I was just trying to see, can you play soft with it? Playing soft with it is equally as challenging as playing soft with one of those like really crazy EVA paddles like the Vice or, which is also a Diadem paddle. You just have to like just barely touch the ball, and it's like, oh. Yeah.
I didn't have a ton of trouble with dinks, but as soon as somebody gives you one that you need to take out of the air, that's when you're going to struggle with your control.
Yeah.
Or just like a reach-in dink, like you reach in and that's when you start to have a little bit more return because the ball is moving a little faster. You have to, you don't have as much time to really plan out your stroke for your dink and whatnot. But the reason why this is better than the owl, number one, it feels better. But number two, the most important thing in my opinion is you can actually put lead tape on this.
True.
What was the specs? It was 121. Was that right?
If I remember right, it was 121 swing weight. The twist weight was very low. It was like 5.1, right? And but it did play more forgiving than that, by the way. It honestly did because it returned so much energy to the ball. What was the maneuverability score? Do you remember?
I think it was a 60 something, like mid 60s, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So not like insanely slow. But that it feels better than the owl. It's not like felt carpety feeling, which 67, which like in my opinion is just like a terrible material. And then obviously you can put lead tape on it, and then I just think that this is a much higher quality paddle. Apparently owls have had like issues with the felt coming loose and separating from the paddle itself. From what I've seen. And then I just think that Diadem is actually a well-known brand who has actually made established products for a very long time, and good products. Not that that means that it's going to be better. We've seen that with plenty of new pickleball companies, Mark included. But I just think that those two things paired together make this a unique paddle, and it just played better.
Yeah, it played way better.
I only played with the Owl for a little bit, but the Owl was nothing insane. People say that it's more powerful than Gen 2s, but I did not really think that. I thought it was very comparable.
What do you think of any paddle you played with this plays the closest to? Because I have an answer.
Oh, gosh. I mean, it would have to be the gearbox.
Yeah, the gearbox.
The closest
The feel,
thing.
yeah.
There's really no close comparison. Even the Yola Gen 3s did not feel quite as just like, oh, shit, this thing
even the shape,
slaps.
the weight, the balance, because it's kind of a high balance point. It's not really quite a quick paddle, and it's a thinner, elongated paddle. There were two different people who I let hit with it, and they said this independently, and one of them played with a Gearbox PPE for almost a year. And she immediately, I'm talking, she served one, returned one, and she turned in midpoint and looked at me and was like, this feels just like the Gearbox. Who's someone who played with it regularly. And then someone else told me that too, independently, not even around. And I had the same thought. So yeah, that's the most similar feeling. And yeah, if you're comparing it to the other quiet paddles, which is the Hush, way better. Playability and the build quality is way better, like you were saying. The handle's super nice.
The longer we go on and the more things like this that show up and feel like the Gearbox, the more it just blows my mind that paddle pass USAP testing.
And to be fair, I think this really feels better than the Gearbox because the sweet spot and the forgiveness 100%. Were way better. And the spin 100%.
It is not even close.
Like, the spin is worlds better. The spin is better than any paddle, any legal paddle, for sure.
You know how I feel about the Gearbox. I do not think the Gearbox is a very good paddle. This paddle I would pick up ahead of the Gearbox every single time.
Yeah, if somehow that passed and became legal, first off, people would throw a fit, but secondly, they would fly off the shelves and sell out immediately because, you could have a serious competitive advantage with that. So,
absolutely. So, Diadem Hush, pretty badass paddle. Drops August 14th, which is a week from now. Code PURSUIT can save you some money if you want to buy this, if you are someone who just wants to try it, or you live and play in a quiet paddle area. So excellent one to check out. Definitely a upgrade on the Owl. So yeah, dude, we did it. We have our first co-review.
That's pretty cool.
Bam. I know, it is pretty cool. I was very excited that they wanted to send both of us. Yeah. That's one thing that I would love to do more with the podcast, because you have an excellent insight, and I know people would love to hear your thoughts on paddles as well. So we're going to move on to some other reviews, which are just from me. I did the Fatboy and the Maverix Clash review since the last podcast has dropped. Both of those paddles, or really all three of those paddles, Maverix Pro, All Court Clash and the Clash Pro, are super awesome paddles, and then obviously the Fatboy is super dope. So I kind of held my tongue for a really long time with the Fatboy, just because that was a paddle that at first I didn't really think too much of it. I thought it was pretty soft, or didn't think it had very much power. And then I started playing with it more and more and more and more, and then I realized very quickly, after I compared it directly to other paddles, just how much more poppy it was than most standard shape paddles. And the problem, which always happens, is recency bias. I had been playing with a J3 Cray Pro extensively, and that is arguably one of the most stiff and poppy standard shape or wide body paddles available in the market. Yeah, very powerful. So that's the one thing that's super important that I do towards the end of the testing, is I gather my thoughts on it, and then I compare it to other things to make sure that that's actually true and in line with what I was thinking. So in this case, I was a little bit wrong. I was like, oh damn, this paddle is super poppy, and doesn't have the Fatboy did not have very much power, which was the one, downfall of it, which is not really a downfall. That's
just a preference.
The case of
yeah.
We
talked about
case
this.
of wide body paddles. They rarely have power.
Yeah, we talked about this really briefly. About paddle archetypes or whatever. We don't have to get into all that, but you and I have talked about plenty of times in the past that like my preference personally is a poppy paddle that's low on power, which is hard to find a lot. But I don't want a lot of power. I want to be able to swing through my big shots to like put spin on them without them flying 10 feet out. But I do want a lot of pop for like counters and flicks and things like that. So those are my favorite type of paddles. That's why I've liked thin core paddles a lot, because usually they're poppy but not powerful.
Yeah. Yep. That's something I've been talking to Justin about, potentially integrating like an archetype, how this paddle would perform, or what category this paddle would perform, because I don't think all court control or power is enough to accurately describe a paddle or put it in a category that makes sense to viewers. So may see something along those lines be developed in the near future. But on to the Clash. The Clash is a very strange paddle. If you just like look at it at its specs, you'll be like, what the hell is this? It's a hybrid shape paddle with a fairly high swing weight and a okay twist weight. The swing weights are like 117.5 and like 118.5. And the twist weights are like 6.4 and 6.45. But it's a 15 millimeter paddle. So you would think that the swing weights would be lower and the twist weights would also be lower. But I mean, when you factor in that, it's like, okay, this is actually a pretty interesting, set of metrics.
And the high balance point.
They have a slightly higher, slightly higher balance point and slightly higher static weight at 8.1. So it's like this conundrum. You're like, okay, it's a hybrid shape paddle, which you generally want to be slightly faster, which is why you get hybrid shape paddles, but it's a little bit slower. But you're like, okay, it still has the forgiveness of a hybrid shape paddle. It is 15 millimeters, so it's going to have enhanced pop, and it's actually pretty damn powerful because it has a fairly high swing weight and static weight. So very interesting paddle. And some reviewers, Pickleball Tech, what is it? Pickleball Tech guy?
Dude.
Rafa?
Pickleball Tech dude.
Yeah, Pickleball Tech dude. I'm so sorry, Robert. Rafa, my bad, dude. If you're watching this, please don't get mad at me. Pickleball Tech dude has said that the Clash is now his main. So it's a badass paddle. Like, really good paddle. One that took me a little while to dial in and get comfortable with, but for whatever reason, it just felt great in the hands. Didn't feel slow, which was surprising to me. I thought I was going to feel a little slow based on the swing weight and balance point. It was obviously, the balance point's a little high, so it's going to feel a little head heavy, but I never felt behind.
But those were like in the 60s on the maneuverability score, so that's not super slow.
Yeah, one was 59 and one was 61.
Yeah.
If I remember
like what you said in your review,
so,
and I think the maneuverability score reflects this, that essentially, as far as the maneuverability and the speed of the paddle, it kind of fits in between average, like hybrid paddles and elongated paddles, and then like here's the Clash, right? So you're getting up there with the elongated paddles, so you get some of the strengths of that, which is like the better plow through, the better power, right? And if you're someone who likes the feel of elongated paddles, you get that. But you also get a lot of the strengths of the hybrid paddles in the wider sweet spot, the forgiveness because of the shape, right? So that's pretty cool. That's a niche that hasn't really been filled. We've actually been seeing paddles kind of fill the other niche in between hybrid and standard, like the J3K Pro. We talked about this. That's a standard shape paddle, but with the shape and the balance point is kind of edging into hybrid territory with the stats almost, and that's how it has so much power. But now you're kind of seeing these type of paddles fit between hybrid and elongated. Anyway, I think that's pretty cool, and I think that was a good way that you summed it up in your review.
Thanks, man. I love when you just compliment me and tell me I do good.
Okay, I got
makes me so happy.
Like at least 5 more compliments on the list here. So I'll pepper him through the podcast.
All right, come on, get him, come on.
Yeah.
So now that's really all I have to say about the Clash and the Fatboy. We're gonna move on to Body Helix.
1 second.
So Body Helix sent me.
I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you were just talking about both your reviews this week. If you guys haven't seen them, go watch them. This is just me saying this, but just as a watcher, I was someone who was subscribed to Lewis before I knew him, and then we chatted for a long time before ever being on the podcast or anything. Those reviews are really good, dude. So you're killing it. I think you did great. I think the videography was great, and yeah, you're still you're living to your brand where you're like keeping the review concise. You're giving everybody everything they need to know, but you're also kind of incorporating some more insight and some more knowledge, but keeping it in like a small, easy to digest package while looking great and being appealing to watch. And I like the fact that on the Fatboy review you did your lights and the colors of the paddle. I thought that was pretty cool, and it just kind of brought the theme.
Appreciate that.
Anyway, so 4 more compliments on the list after that one.
Yeah. So to touch on that very quickly, I've been noticing other reviewers start to do things that I have done in the past, and this is not to like poop on them at all, because like nothing that I've ever done with my video work has been something that's never done before. But I've just seen people kind of like start to catch up to do some of the things that I have done, and I'm like, damn, I gotta stop being lazy. I have to like really step up my editing as well as the content that is being put into these reviews, and just stop not recycling, but just doing the same different, the same exact flow for every video. So I needed to change it up a little bit, and I'm actually kind of happy with that. That's why I said last episode, I was like, I was fired up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to go out there and make some badass reviews.
Me too.
And keep leveling up. So
yeah, and I'm ready to ride those coattails.
That's great. That's right.
We joked about this. We need to make a graphic of like 2 dudes riding their coattails in a circle. Like dogs chasing their tail or something. Because I'm fired up too. We're gonna do some shit. All right.
Yeah, we're about to make it happen.
Yeah.
I always joke that I'm just riding your coattail on this podcast when you talk about nerdy stuff. So I'm glad the feeling is mutual.
Yeah.
So yeah, appreciate the compliments as well, and I hope everybody else has noticed the slight bump in production quality on the reviews. They will continue to get better and better. Shout out to my wife who filmed all of the outside playing B-roll. So
awesome.
She killed it. So yeah, on to Body Helix. So Body Helix sent over a massive care package. They sent me a bag. They sent me 2 shirts. They sent me some pants, a quarter zip, a bunch of accessories, tape, silicone weights, a water bottle.
Did you get glasses?
I did get glasses. Another pair of glasses that just are not even close to my style. So wanted to say a huge thank you to Body Helix. They are a veteran-run company, so if y'all enjoy supporting veterans, if that's your MO in any way, shape, or form, it's a great company to support. Now, I'm not just saying this because they sent me a bunch of free stuff. The t-shirts, the performance t-shirts, and the quarter zip and the pants are some of the nicest apparel that I've ever tried on.
Really? That's
like
cool.
They are so soft, super thin, feel fantastic. So, yeah, very solid apparel. If you've ever been curious about buying some of theirs, I would definitely say it is of the quality that you can expect with any top brand. So kudos to Body Helix. I think my code is Pursuit10, which can be used on any of their products, including apparel and whatnot. So yeah, big thanks to them. They also sent over the gold Kevlar
Nice.
X4. So I don't think that this color should really be legal, but it looks crazy.
Yeah.
Like absolutely crazy. So
It does look cool.
The X4 was a really good paddle. I did a review on that. It's just one of those paddles that like any person in pickleball can pick up, play with, and enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with the paddle. It doesn't do anything insane, but there's nothing it does poorly. So I expect this one to be a really solid performer as well. And if you like that crazy gold face, I think it'd be a really cool paddle to own. So yeah, that one is out already. So if you're interested in purchasing it, I do think that they have that available now. So Body Helix, thanks for sending over the gear. Looking forward to doing a little review on the X4 Gold Kevlar paddle. Should be really cool. They also updated their grip. They had like that perforated grip like Grooven used, but they went to like a more traditional perforated grip.
I kind of like that one,
right
the
there.
Grooven one.
Yeah, no, it's really... I thought it was the best stock grip just because it actually... like very few stock grips actually absorb any sweat and can stay, relatively usable. I thought that the old Body Helix and or Grooven perforated kind of colored stock grips were actually pretty good. So, yeah. All right. We're 40 minutes in, dude. You ready to hit up some NERDTOWN?
Yeah. I'm smiling because I just... no, I'll tell you later. Yes. Let's go. Choo-choo.
All right. Choo-choo. All aboard. All right, so today's NERDTOWN topic. Why Gen 2 paddles are actually better for control. So a lot of people say, Gen 1 paddles are the best control paddles or the most control-oriented paddles. And while that is not necessarily false, I think it's slightly misguided. And there's a few reasons behind that. And I'll let Justin kind of jump into this and give a little bit of insight of why Gen 2 actually could be a better paddle in terms of control.
We'll see.
So go ahead.
Yeah,
man.
we'll see if we're on the same page, Lewis.
All aboard.
Because I just, you were like, hey, let's talk about this. And I was like, okay. But we didn't actually talk about it beforehand. So we'll see if we agree.
We'll see.
And
we'll see if we agree.
If we think, okay. We sort of talked about this before. This was in one of the very early episodes. But I think when you talk about like control, there's multiple factors that can be considered. So let's talk about sweet spot, forgiveness, stability, and then of course predictability, right? So how would you define control? I think that the pickleball market as a whole sometimes falls into the trap of defining a control paddle as a soft paddle or a paddle that's plush.
Yes.
That because then it's not very volatile. The ball's not gonna pop off. It's not very poppy. It's not very powerful. So all of a sudden it becomes a control paddle. I would say
and that is definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that definitely has a role in how control oriented a paddle is. Right. But I do think that the paddle's stability, the paddle's sweet spot, and as you touched on, the predictability of the ball, coming off the face, all over the face, is arguably the most important thing. Because control, in my opinion, is when you hit the ball, you know exactly where it's going and how much pace is coming off of it. So although a softer, less powerful paddle may feel more control oriented, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for your control oriented shots. So I'll let you kind of dive more into that, and then we'll kind of see if this is something we agree on.
Yeah, I think we do, because this was ages ago. I was doing some private testing for a company, and it was the first time it made me rethink control, because it was a paddle that was actually very poppy. But I was like, wait a minute, I feel like this has good control. And at the time, that was a conflict in my own head because of what you just said. I had been associating control with like soft, being able to absorb power. But at that time, here's the test that I developed for myself. This was with a drilling partner. I put a cone at a specific spot. It was kind of actually like in the midcourt off to the left. And I was like, this is me rethinking it. I was thinking that a control should be, can I put the ball exactly where I want to put it in any circumstance? So that's exactly what we did. I drilled my partner and we just started with dinking, and I was like, okay, dink to me. Can I just, hit a regular shot right to that cone? Of course I can, right? Now out of the air, can I hit an overhead or a high ball right to that cone? Yeah, I could. Can I then absorb power? Can I reset to there? Like have him smash it at me? Am I able to, redirect the ball to near the cone, basically? And then, of course, it became from the baseline. Am I able to return serve there? Am I able to serve there? Am I able to hit a ground stroke there? And that became, in my head, my new definition of control, because this paddle kind of broke it for me. Because it was a pretty poppy paddle. It's fairly powerful, too. But in that test, I could always hit near the cone. And that's not to say I'm a good player, because that's not true with every paddle. Some paddles I would struggle with a certain part of that, particularly resets and or like returns, those would be the ones that I would normally struggle with. And those are like the high power paddles that you would consider normally, this doesn't have great control. So that's the major part. And then what we also talked about, sweet spot size, forgiveness, and stability are kind of what contribute to that. Because if you are able to return hard serves or, reset, hard shots well and consistently and where you expect them to go, it's probably because the paddle is super predictable, because it has a giant sweet spot and it's fairly stable and forgiving. Because those are the type of shots you're going to hit off center when someone's slamming the ball and you're trying to reset. Yeah. So if you're able to hit your off center shots where you want, then I think a paddle has a high level of control. So back to the original question, you said why Gen 2 paddles may actually be better for control than Gen 1 for all the reasons we just said. Gen 2 paddles return more energy on the edges of the paddle because, the face is pulled tight by the seam. We talked about that previously. They generally have more stability and a bigger sweet spot because of the foam edge. And because of those things, they may not feel more forgiving because it's a harsher feel than a Gen 1. But if you just measure the trajectory of the ball and how consistent you can be with putting the ball where you want, they technically probably are more forgiving and more controllable. So that would be my take on why Gen 2, in ideal circumstances is actually maybe a more controllable paddle, or has more control potential, if you want to say it that way, than a Gen 1 paddle. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah. That is word for word exactly what I was thinking. The main aspect is exactly what you said, with the face being pulled to the seam. It makes it much more responsive across the face. Now, you're obviously going to have dead spots at the edge of the face, no matter what paddle you're using. But the fall off from sweet spot to slightly usable to unusable is much more drastic in Gen 1 and Gen 1.5 paddles. Now, Gen 1.5 paddles are going to do much better than Gen 1 paddles. Gen 1 paddles, which are generally associated with being the most control-oriented paddles because they're the softest paddles, are actually going to be very punishing and dead on the edges and even closer to the edge of the sweet spot. So that, in turn, in my opinion, makes the Gen 2s much better paddles overall, but also better for control because, for the most part, half of your control shots, whether it be resets or, taking dinks out of the air, are going to be a little less, you have a little less ability and time to make sure that you're hitting the sweet spot. Yeah. So having a paddle that can perform well across the face at a broader range is going to make it much easier to control both of those shots and not be punished by mishits. So that was kind of the thought process that I was getting at, and obviously we agree.
Yeah.
Across the board with that. So that's something that a lot of people misassociate a paddle's feeling of plushness and softness, especially with respect to its construction type or its generation type, being strictly associated with how control oriented it is. And that is not necessarily the case. Although it may be much easier to not pop the ball up with Gen 1 paddles.
I was going to say, I have one thing to add.
As soon as you... Yeah.
Basically, what you were just getting at, and I think that, this is a nuance, even though we're over here saying on one side that, Gen 1 paddles. I don't know. Let's just get rid of Gen 1. Those are just not as good. Call it Gen 1.5, non-thermoform foam edge paddle, like the Prism, Vatic Prism, or now the Jelly Bean.
Yeah.
Those paddles, I think why people say this has great control, and they truly are great recommendations for beginners and people who are, trying to improve and dial in their shots, is because the volatility, right, of the paddle when people hit at you. I think that, and I had written this before previously about linear power curve, basically. And that's something we could get into another time. But that most of us, I think if you looked at your videos, which, I have and you have clearly, that most people kind of intermediate or lower are missing long or in the net or high far more than they're missing left or right. So when it comes to controlling a ball, when you're learning and dialing it in, the hardest part or the most important part about control is learning to control the energy you're putting into the ball, not like where you're aiming, right? Aim is fine. You can figure that out just fine, left and right. However, that's why I think that these Gen 1.5 softer paddles, less powerful paddles are fine because they're less punishing. You have someone who's not necessarily great at controlling their power, and maybe they came from tennis and they're just like swinging way too hard. Well, on a crazy like Gen 2 powerful paddle, that's 10 miles out, but on like a Gen 1.5 paddle, that might just stay in, might just float. Of course, they don't have as much power, but, especially on dinks and drops and resets, it's just much easier because you get to move your arm more. Whereas you get into the more poppy power paddles, you have to have a lot of feel to just barely do it. And you're like, oh, that's enough, but you have to develop that. So all that we just said about Gen 2 being, better for control, I think mainly applies to intermediate players. When you're talking about full-on beginners, give them a Gen 1.5.
I was just about to add that.
Yeah.
The higher level you play, coming from a couple of fake 4.0s, the higher up you play, the more you're going to need a paddle that can respond better to aggressive shots. So your defensive shots are going to come from more aggressive shots, or your control-oriented shots are going to be in a response to a more aggressive shot.
Yeah.
When you're playing lower level pickleball, it's not going to be quite as, you're not going to be seeing quite as aggressive shots come to you. You're more so just banging and, hitting the ball. So it's not like, you're having this big, giant, fast roll where you're split stepping in the, transition zone and trying to reset it back over the net. So all that to be said, it's very dependent upon what level you play, but I would say 3.5 and up, you're probably going to be better off just using a Gen 2 paddle and dialing in the, dialing in your strokes and power.
Quick side story. Last night, I actually went and played with like kind of a beginner group, an open play. This is the first time I've done that in a long time. But I have a friend who's just getting into
Mr. Elite.
Well, I just have a good group, man. You got a good group,
Yeah.
But I have a friend who is kind of getting into pickleball, so we went and played at this place that has maybe, roughly 3.0 level. I guess some of the people there might have been approaching 3.5 open play. And I was just playing with him, kind of teaching the rules. And he's an ex-tennis player, so it's fine. But dude, it was actually hard. It was like I was struggling because all the patterns that you get used to playing pickleball do not exist. It's just the craziest rip slice drive from the baseline right at your neck, or who knows what people are going to do. It's like so hard to predict. Of course I say it's hard. It wasn't actually that hard, but it was just so crazy unpredictable. And there were so many times people are just banging from the baseline and not ever coming to the net. I can't tell you how many points because I was literally trying for my friend's sake. I'm like, I'm not gonna try to end any rallies. I just want to try to get people to the kitchen. I'll keep the point going as long as possible to, get him some shots, let him like learn dinking and the flow. So when people were banging at me, instead of like, blocking and slamming it away, I would just block it back. Try to get them to like come on, And
come on in, guys.
it was funny because I wasn't doing this on purpose, but I probably won like 6 or 7 points off just fully dropping a shot, because they would bang from the behind the baseline. I would drop it in the kitchen. They're 5 feet behind the baseline and just not ready to come in. So then they're like, oh, scrambling up to get it. And it bounces twice before they can get there. And I'm like, I'm not trying to just like drop shot winner everybody. I'm like, come on, let's play. But
come on out. Let's play real pickleball.
Yeah, totally different, because the night before I had played with like a 4 or 5 type group, and it was actually some really good play, and I was getting beat, of course, but it was solid long points, just like a lot of dinking. Don't screw up and hit it 3 inches too high, or you basically lose the point. 2, like I said, the hardest slice drive you've ever seen directly at your neck. It was just hard to adjust. But anyway, that's
that is definitely the hard thing about reviewing as well too. Like sometimes I just have to go play open play, and the points in the reviews look terrible. It's just a fact of, and that's not always on them. Sometimes it's on me too. But when you get in these patterns that are not quite as progressive to a strategic play, the pickleball looks pretty rough, and it's actually kind of
hard to play. Yeah.
It's like I don't know where the ball's coming. You're hitting these crazy shots that make no sense, and like every now and then they'll hit one in, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like no one should be trying
getting accidentally lobbed.
You just hit it in.
Anyway. All right.
That's never an accident. Everybody knows your overheads are trash.
Oh man, I just run back now.
All right.
I'm just like, I'll be back there, guys.
Yeah. Sprints back, waits for the ball to bounce, hits a drop.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's all good. We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get better. You'll come down here and drill.
Use your ball machine.
Lobs one. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, look, that's it, dude.
It's under an hour.
Did it. 57 minutes. We did it.
It's not even 57, because a lot of that was at the beginning.
Oh, you're right.
So we're good. We're under an hour. And y'all, I'm really looking forward to next week. There's some stuff behind the scenes that I'm really, really excited about. And next week, at least part of it, we'll get to talk about, but I don't know if I get to talk about all of it yet. But yeah, looking forward to it. I'm super pumped. I've been very energized. So anyway, see y'all next time.
We're making moves, baby. We're making moves. Yeah. All right, this is the Pickleball Pursuit podcast. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Lewis, with my co-host, Justin. I almost said your coast.
Your co-host.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about any topics that we have discussed today, or you would like to have us discuss in the future, please drop those in the comments below. Thank you all for everyone who entered in the giveaway and participated in the hilarious comment section. We genuinely appreciate that. Congratulations to our 2 lucky winners. Don't forget to email me at pickleballpursuit@gmail.com. Until next time, we'll see you.